All right, here we go again. Denny back with another video. Thank you for joining me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this. I'm out of the vehicle and back at home alone, like Kevin McAllister, Home Alone. I am just enjoying a green drink here. This is kale, spinach, celery, apple, lemon, ginger. Trying to be healthy today. These things are a ripoff though, like grocery store. It's like $6 for this drink. I sometimes make them myself, but I've been so busy lately and it's a lot of work, and to get all those ingredients together and then to make it worth it, you gotta make the drink a lot of times. Gotta make it over and over again. So just quicker sometimes just to do this. Grab one while you're at the store anyways, and just post hot Epsom salt bath here, and I just had some water and now I'm chasing it with some juice here. Hope you're doing well. At the time of this recording, this is a holiday Monday here in Canada. Even though I'm wearing my Florida shirt, my dad got me this when he was visiting there a long time ago, almost 20 years ago. And he had some interesting stories from that trip. And I guess this shirt was left in a taxi cab in where was he? Like in Fort Myers, somewhere there. So him and his wife were in the cab, and someone had like left this shirt behind. It was like in a souvenir bag, so it wasn't like a worn shirt that someone just took off and put it there, but it was like a purchase thing, and I guess the cabbie didn't have the info of the people that were in there previously. He didn't know it was there, so he just said, "Yeah, keep it." So my dad's like, "All right, I'll take it back to Canada." Anyways, so I've kept it in my closet. I know I have some viewers from Florida that watch, so hello and welcome back, and thank you for subscribing and supporting me. So what I wanted to talk about today is in keeping with some of the themes that have been part of the channel, and that's coping with being alone, and possibly if you haven't lived most of your life alone and you are now, adjusting to that lifestyle and possibly embracing it, and acknowledging the perks of being alone and living alone and being independent, and kind of getting accustomed to it and adapting. So one of the things I haven't talked about though is more of how we feel on the inside, as far as maybe why we're alone in the first place, and some of the psychological aspects to it. Like the title of this video is going to be "Feeling Alone in a Crowded Room." So I often think about how some people, possibly in myself included, for most of my life and maybe your life, you felt like you never fit in into society, into the mainstream, and for whatever reason, and maybe you just didn't feel comfortable being seen and maybe you felt like you were invisible to the world. And I spent many years feeling invisible. And, we talk about dating, and for the guys here trying to attract women, and that whole part of your life. It's difficult when you feel like you're invisible. You're invisible to other people. You're invisible to the opposite sex. You're not being noticed. And the funny thing is, maybe we don't want to be noticed. Maybe we're comfortable or more comfortable being invisible to people. And I felt like that most of my life. If I had any attention out in public, I wouldn't feel that comfortable with it, especially in certain moments. And I think that's why I had such a fear of public speaking and having everybody focus on me at the same time, like in a setting, like where you had to give a speech, like a wedding or something. I was never comfortable, and I've never actually, of all the weddings I've been to, I've never given a speech. And I was always like, well, how the hell do you even get up there and do that? Like, I wouldn't know what to say or how to say it, and how would I deal with the pressure of people looking at me and hanging on to every word and anticipating what the next sentence is going to be. I felt extremely uncomfortable with that, and I think that theme throughout my life probably hurt me as far as meeting somebody for a relationship. So yeah, that I don't know, but to kind of go back, I did feel alone, even when there's other people around. I was always in my own head. Not always, but most of the time I was in my own head, always introspective, always self-critical, and always, not always, I keep saying always, but it's never always. We all have our moments where we feel confident, and some moments we don't, and sometimes we're happy, and sometimes we're bummed out and depressed, and that's life. So I felt like I was insecure a lot of times, and like almost not worthy of expressing myself, and feeling like I didn't really have anything to offer anyways, and I just assumed that people weren't interested. And that's kind of still lingers a bit in me, even though I'm talking about stuff from a while ago. And what's interesting about doing this YouTube thing is having people listen and respond is kind of new still to me, even though maybe the last 15 years or so I've really been out there. And if you've watched the channel, I've talked about travels and adventures, and getting out of my shell and actually becoming a pretty social person. So I think probably doing that has allowed me to actually do this, talking to my phone here and having other people listen. And I often wonder, like what caused the switch in me. Was I just sick of being completely invisible and not feeling worthy, or feeling like I didn't belong, or just just insecurity, I guess. But yeah, even to this day, I still feel like being a loner has always been my kind of what I go back to. It's almost like my default state of mind, and I once in a while jump out of that and almost like when I go out to an event or something, like I've talked about, this crazy Oilers playoff hysteria that happens every year, that there's a lot of stuff going on. I kind of jump out of my um, that shell that I feel most comfortable in it, and that's being alone and protected, and not being out there ruffling any feathers or drawing any attention to myself. I step out of that and I actually do those things. I am out there to be seen, and I interact with people and I express myself out in public. And then I kind of like retreat back into it. As with before, in my younger days, I was pretty much always in the shell and very shy. Every time I'd go into a new situation, like even though I was, sometimes I would get invited to a party or something, every new person that would meet me, especially older people that were like friends of my dad or my parents, they'd always tell me like right up front how timid I am, and oh, he's shy. Are you shy? Like he seems shy. And I've had that happen so many times, and it wasn't like a conscious thing. Like I was even aware I was shy. I was just being, just existing, and um, people kind of defined that for me. I never defined it for myself. And maybe that, that's just what they observed, and that's probably objectively what it was. I was shy and insecure, and I didn't like to uh, draw attention to myself. And that's how I lived, at least half to three quarters of my life. So yeah, I mean, you're those that are watching this that are kind of in the same position, that um, feel the way I've felt. Um, it's very interesting, just that statement, like feeling alone in a crowded room, because you're still isolated, even though there's people around you, and for some reason they you don't feel like they are there for you. You don't feel like you can connect to them. You feel like you're different in some way. Like I remember, you know, younger and being in those situations in crowded places. And it was almost like this weird sense of this kind of peculiar sense of me being like, I didn't think I was like better than the people around me, but it was almost like I felt this peculiar joy, or kind of like this self importance, that I was different and they just didn't get it. And I understood the world better than they did. And, they were just stuck in their little groups and their chatter and uh, their little world. And I was standing outside of it, outside the bubble, and I could see everything. And um, I thought I was like kind of special because I wasn't part of their group. It's a weird thing to explain, to articulate, but I didn't feel superior, but I felt like I was, I guess, more special or something, in a weird way, and maybe that was just a way of coping with the fact that I was alone and felt alone, and I felt isolated, and I didn't have the skill or the ability to reach out and connect with others. Maybe that's why I kind of had those feelings of specialness, just to kind of help me deal with it. Because I think we all have fragile egos, even though we may feel enlightened, and we may feel like we don't belong. We still have this ego to protect. And I kind of grew out of a lot of those emotions of isolation and all that. And I remember, I was huge into music. Like, I'd listen to so much music, and a lot of the artists and stuff were, a lot of the songs were about isolation. And you think about the famous rock star, the singer who's out there in front of tens of thousands of fans in a stadium, and they're all chanting and singing along to the words, and um, 50,000 eyeballs are on you, and you're all ears, all eyes, and you have them in the palm of your hand, kind of like Freddie Mercury or something. But yet, when they're up there, a lot of them have expressed in interviews and even in song lyrics, like they still feel alone, like they're still isolated. And I believe there's like a whole Pink Floyd album, The Wall, which at least partly is about feeling of isolation and feeling lonely, even though you have millions of people that are on your side, and still feeling trapped in some way, or still feeling like nobody understands you. Uh, and then you kind of retreat, and when you're alone, um, you all you have is you and your thoughts, and you could tell yourself all kinds of crazy stories about how the world's crazy, and you're just a victim, and all these kind of things, which is what I did. But yeah, I found comfort in music, and that's where when I'd come home from school in high school, that was what I would take solace in and comfort, is listening to music. And I kind of related to a lot of the songs that were about feeling alone and feeling isolated. So I'm sure some of you can identify with that as well. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. And I just want you to know that, I try to embrace being alone and being a bachelor, but I've also learned to step out of that and have fun once in a while and connect with people, and even digitally connecting with the people here who watch my videos, people online. And again, you're not alone. I know what some of you middle-aged bachelors are going through. I'm going through it. It's difficult to meet people. It's a complicated world. I would say try to enjoy your time. I know some of you are happy and have expressed that you wouldn't want it any other way, to just have peace and solitude. And some of you feel very confident in that. And even though maybe you could go out and meet someone and change your life, maybe you're making a firm decision to be alone, and that's great. That's fine. But and the some of you, however, are maybe looking to change, and don't want to be alone, and are sick of it, and want to change something and get out of your shell, possibly meet people or make some friends, or maybe even get a girlfriend somehow. Um, and if you're still struggling with these feelings of being alone, and feeling like you can't connect, and feeling like people don't see you or understand you, just know that I know what you're going through, and it is possible to get out of that. You just have to put yourself out there and force yourself, and you have to really want it. You have to really be tired of your current situation, and just get out there, get into the world, get amongst the people. And even though you may feel alone in a crowd, like I'm saying, you can try to reach out to people, and once you meet a few people and make some new friends, it can change your perspective, and then maybe you don't feel that alone going forward. And you could find people online on the internet. There's lots of other resources that can help you to be more social. You could get professional help. I'm not a psychiatrist or anything like that, so this isn't professional advice. I'm just talking and expressing myself and sharing my opinions, and just my advice based on my experience. So you could take it or not. But that's about it on the topic. It's okay to feel alone. These feelings are nothing to be guilty about or feel like there's something wrong with you, because there's not. And you don't even know who has these feelings of extreme loneliness and isolation. Some of the people that you think are the most social, the most, a lot of famous people who are out there, you don't know how they really feel inside. They could feel incredibly alone, even though they have the world at them, because they're not connecting on that deep spiritual level with anybody. They're connecting on surface and shallow connections, and that, I don't think that makes anybody really happy. If people just want a piece of you and they don't really appreciate you unless you're doing something for them, then yeah, that could be a bummer. People that just want to be your friend because you have something that they want, that's kind of shitty. And I understand a lot of relationships are like that, which is a sad thing. What can you do for me? That kind of attitude, it's prevalent in our society. So with that said, I hope you done well. All my Canadians, hope you have had a pleasant Victoria Day long weekend. To my American friends, to my Floridians, the free state of Florida, even though I do not like the Florida Panthers, I hope they lose to the Carolina Hurricanes. And I, of course, let's go Oilers, right? Yeah, so that's stuff, to look forward to get excited about. Coming up is round 3. We're actually playing Dallas. The Dallas Stars, which are a fantastic hockey team, should be a good battle. Don't know who's going to win, but it'll be entertaining to watch. Hockey fans, again, let me know who you think is going to win the Stanley Cup out of the 4 teams left. Be interesting to hear your opinion on that. And yeah, for me, YouTube journey, I think this might be video 39 or 40. And it's been fun, and I'm going to keep doing these videos on these similar topics, try to keep it within the realm of bachelors and lonely people and what do you call it? Single people. And yeah, I've got some ideas coming up for future videos, and I had this idea in my head because I had like a little moment when I was out at this thing called the Fan Park, where you watch hockey on the big screen, and it's like this whole thing, it's almost like a concert. There's like 5,000 people at this park, and just for a few moments there, I was kind of looking around, and I had got there early, and my friends haven't arrived yet, 2 other buddies that were coming, and I didn't know anybody there at the time, and it was pretty busy, and I kind of just stood there looking around waiting for the game to start. And there's all these like little all these cliques and, groups of people that were together chatting, laughing, drinking and all that. And I had just a little moment there that I've experienced so many times in my life where I just felt completely alone and completely disconnected from everybody that was around me. And again, where that comes from and why that exists, I don't really know, but it's something to explore going forward. So feel free to comment and let me know. Maybe you have some insight that I don't, of why we still feel alone when there's people around us. Yes, psychological stuff, and I understand that. So, yeah, anyways, hope you have a great week coming up. And I hope that, again, you're finding peace and joy and love in your life from, your family or whoever you have around you, and that gets you through. And I'm glad you are enjoying these videos. And I have a slow growing but growing audience. And like I mentioned on the last video, I've reached this kind of minimum monetization thing where I can now accept super thanks in the comments if you want to support the channel. And also I have a PayPal donation link. I've had a couple people send me a donation through PayPal to support the channel. Again, very small YouTube channel, just trying to get some thoughts and ideas and maybe entertain the people a little bit out there. And I support small YouTube, and hopefully you do as well. So thank you once again. God bless you, and God bless your family. And I hope you have a pleasant week, and we will see you on the next video. Peace, Denny out.